Next on the call, we've got Casey Rathmanner joining us from in Oregon. Correctly, he can expand on that. But what's great about Casey is and this is an incredible detail. He's been in the insurance industry for 2 years. Recently got started with us. He has never sat in a home to sell insurance. He's a complete, proven expert, if you will, on the virtual telesales model. And so I'm excited for you to learn from all of him and to hear from him today. How are we doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Excited to be on and share a couple things.
I love it, man. So I love you. Yeah, if you could just share kind of a little bit on your backstory, where how you found FFL, and what's working for you.
Yeah, so I've actually been in the industry for 7 years total, but everything changed after COVID and jumping in doing a lot of virtual things. So primarily the last 2 years been focusing on virtual and doing either over the phone or over Zoom type appointments and getting people signed up for insurance. So that's kind of the background story. But before that, we did voluntary benefits at the work site, a lot of cold calls to companies, scheduling appointments, and going out in person and meeting with employees to talk about voluntary benefits like disability, accident, life insurance, those types of things. And so really made a huge shift 2 years ago. My business partner, Mike, and I started to focus on, which companies were offering the best products to individuals versus employees at companies. And that's really where, kind of the light bulb went off. And Mike actually found FFL. We joined another company first. Then I think it was back in July, we made the decision, okay, let's go all in and let's work with the guys at FFL. And so here we are. We're excited. We've really actually been started probably since October. We had a lot of transition in between office space and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been great so far, just kind of working out some kinks, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
I love it, man. I love it. So it's a testament to, it's a slight company plug, but for a guy like yourself who's been in the industry as long as you have, to go somewhere, to commit to a place and then to go, this other one looks better, to uproot and come to us now. It's a testament to what we fortunately all get to benefit from. But to, someone like yourself who's been in the industry as long as you have, you see a lot of stuff over the years of being we get a lot of emails, get a lot of calls, a lot of robocalls, and you're like, those just don't sound as great as what you see presented at Family First Life. And as people continue to progress here, you see where the numbers keep growing and growing. So to know that, and to know, to look at other companies in the landscape of where we all work and live, don't do that in a year or a month or even a year at some of them, big ones that you hear about and see them advertise. And to know that us at FFL, we're doing that in a week, just is, it's exciting and humbling at the same time. So let's talk more about what you do from a production standpoint. And I'd love to talk about leads, because I know you've got a unique lead mix that you do and a dialing process. And I'd love for you to kind of expand on what you found, what you use, what you do, and how it all works for you.
Yeah, so let me just go back to the beginning. So we started to call and set appointments. Some of our team was going and doing in-person appointments. I primarily was staying back at the office, scheduling appointments, whether it be a phone call or a Zoom call, and then finding, if I can set 20 or 30 appointments, maybe a quarter of them will show up. So that lasted like 2 weeks. Then we transitioned into calling, and trying to run the appointment on the spot. And that did work. But then we moved office spaces. So then, reconstruction, all that stuff. So now we're in the office space. And I decided in the first week, or really the first month, I was going to go all in on inbound phone calls and get live transfers from like all web leads. And that went really, really well. It's a little costly. So my mind was thinking, how can we build a team, with brand new people coming in, but how can they afford something like that? So then we transitioned into doing outbound phone calls on 3-month-old leads, just the internet leads, and running the appointments on the spot. And so that's working. It's worked great. It's obviously a lot more cost effective, but the premiums are lower is what I found. The inbound leads, you're getting people that are older that really need the coverage. And if you can get them qualified, great. But the outbound ones, I've noticed a little bit lower premium dollars, but you're still able to help people, and it doesn't cost you as much.
That's good perspective. So you did inbounds for a while, and then now you transitioned back to outbounds. Now, what is the average AP per policy on the outbound dials versus what you were seeing on the inbounds?
It's kind of hit or miss. I've had a lot of big sales with inbound phone calls because you get older people, higher premiums. The outbound phone calls, you're getting people, in their 50s and maybe early 60s, and they're not really thinking about end of life planning yet. So, if you get them on something, it's a lot less in premium. But it's been hit or miss. The reason I switched back to outbound phone calls was just so that I could show people in our office, okay, the outbound thing does work, and it costs you $3 a lead. So go buy 100 leads, call them 5 or 6 times, and knock it out, make some money.
I love that. So which are your favorite? Do you only buy the one lead type, or is there 1, 2, and 3 best leads that you see them in this year? I'm going to grab as many as you can.
Yeah, I stick with the 3-month-old internet leads.
3-month
they seem to be 3 months. Yeah, like I did. I bought 50 for myself this week.
It's just the best business ever, man. It's the best business ever. So, okay. So only 3-month internets. What's your dial? Like, so let's go, say you're dialing them right now. Do you have a process? Is like I always love specifics. I mean, a guy like you, as focused as you are, I'm sure you've got routines or how you set your day or how you set your dial up. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So like clear desk, clear mind, you got your script, always have your script in front of you. You got to know your script, but always have it in front of you because it keeps you on track. Right. So that's the number one thing. You've got your lead list in front of you. I don't use phone burner. I've used phone burner actually at another company I worked with, and it didn't dial as fast as I wanted. It didn't keep track of the notes as quick as I wanted it organized. And I like to move the colors. It's weird. I like to move the colors around, and like red means like they're not going to buy anything, or a bad number. Green means, okay, great, you made some money. So when you see that on your screen, it like refreshes your mindset to keep dialing, and I don't even organize them together. I let them, fall where they lie, because then I can see, okay, every 10 dials, I get to talk to somebody and I get to swing the bat, and what am I doing that's either getting them to stay on the phone or getting them to hang up right away, so I kind of track that stuff and figure out what's working and what's not working, and tweak where it needs to be tweaked.
I love that. So share us the stuff that's working if you've got it written down there on your script.
Yeah, so I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was on one of these lives a bit ago, and I copied his script, and it's been working. I have other scripts that I use, but this has been working great. So if I'm calling you, hi Grady, this is Casey. I'm with the Benefits Center here in Jackson County. The reason I'm calling is because we received a request that you filled out online for some information on the state life insurance programs. And Grady, you listed your birth date as 10/17/1980. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let him answer.
Yeah.
Great. I'll be off the phone here in a second. I was just calling to let you know that we processed your request, and we're doing everything virtually now. So it takes about 10 minutes. Go ahead, grab a pen and a paper for me real quick, and we'll get this out of the way. So same script as I'm sure you guys have all heard before, but it's taking authority and like, hey, you sent in the information. We're going to get this out of the way for you. We're going to get you the information that you requested. So the key is to stay in the script. If you pause, you lose them right away.
I love it. So you say go get a pen, which is now you taking control of me as the potential client, giving me a task. Am I going to be solvent? Am I going to follow your command and go do so? Now you're getting a yes essentially within my mindset, yep. And I'm now you just, what else am I going to do? So let's say, okay, I got a pen.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that means it's go time. Like you're going to run an appointment. Yeah. Great. So we're going to swing. So, when they go and they grab the pen, great, I've got my pen. Okay, I want you to write down my information first. So I give them my name, first and last name, and I spell it out really slowly for them. I give them my phone number, my direct phone number. I'm in the state of Oregon, so I tell them, that's my area code. And then the last thing I do is I have them write down my state license number, my national insurance producer number. And the reason why that's important is because it's like my social security number with each state to be able to talk and sell insurance. So can you write that down? So I have them write down all that information. The next thing I do is I ask them 3 questions to really nail down, what are we actually going to talk about here? So Grady, you've been trying to get this set up for a while, or am I the first person you've been talking to about this? So you answer, great.
Yeah. You keep going. I'm
good. All right. Good. So Grady, do you currently have life insurance?
No.
Right. Okay. Now, Grady, are you working full-time, or are you retired or disabled?
Retired.
Retired. Okay, great. So does that mean you're on Social Security?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So when you get your Social Security, does that get deposited into a bank account or on a direct express card?
Bank account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bank account. Great. Now I'll pause for a second. If you get any pushback there, that the why I asked that question is because you need to know, are they going to be paying with a direct express card, or do they have a routing and account number, especially when you're doing telesales or virtual sales? Now, if there's any pushback there, I always mention to them, well, before we ever apply with a company, they want to know where the money is going to come from to pay for the policy if you get approved. So that's the only reason why I asked the question. And that usually solves the pushback if there is any. So I ask those 3 questions, then I dive right into, okay, here's how this is going to work. Okay. So now the way this works is very simple, Grady. I'm a licensed broker in your state. My job is to pull all the options in the state of Oregon. Now, everything is based on your age and your health. So I'm going to ask you about 5 medical questions, and depending on how you answer those, they'll give me a good idea of which companies will decline you and which ones might approve you. Does that make sense? Great. Now, once we pull those options for you, we'll look and see which company is offering you the best rate. And at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to submit an application to see if we can get you approved for coverage. Now, unfortunately, we can't commit to anything today, because before you get the insurance, you have to get it approved by the insurance company. Does that make sense? So I asked, does that make sense twice there? Because I want them to agree with me that this is what we're going to do. And mentally that puts them in that agreement spot. And now we're on the track. We're going to go through, we're going to find a company that will approve you based on the health questions, which, I ask the typical health questions. And then I go through and I get them quotes. Obviously in that I'm having conversation, I'm doing a lot of multitasking too, because I'm working with the quoting software. I'm asking them questions like, what exactly are they looking for? Are they wanting to be buried or cremated, have a nice funeral? I'm giving them an idea. Okay, if you want to be cremated, that's going to cost about $5,000. Burial is going to cost about $10,000. Are you looking to leave a little extra money behind for your family? And the very most important thing is after you ask those medical questions, I figure out, okay, now Grady, God forbid something happens to you tomorrow, who's going to take care of any debt or expenses that you leave behind? And that finds out, the beneficiary. And then I'm going to emotionally tie the rest of the conversation to that person. So Grady, when I'm presenting 2 or 3 options, I don't present any more than that, because it's too much especially when you're trying to talk over the phone or over Zoom. But I emotionally tie that together. So Grady, if you were to pass away tomorrow, would you want to leave your niece $10,000, $5,000, or $2,000 of benefit?
Fine.
And I let them decide, okay, great. Now, like I said before, Grady, I don't make the final decision whether or not you get approved. It's the insurance company that does. So what we'll do is we'll submit an application, see if we can get you qualified for that coverage. So you decide on $5,000, great. I'm going to pull up the application right now. Take about 5 minutes from here. So that's it. And then you walk through the application, you ask the additional medical questions. And the other thing that I've done is figure out in the beginning, there's a lot of thinking you've got to do. You got to figure out in the beginning, am I talking to somebody who's 80 years old and doesn't know how to get in their email and can't possibly get in and DocuSign something? Well, I already know I can't go to America. I can't go to Mutual of Omaha. It's not a possibility. Now, if there's a grandson or somebody in the house that can help with that, I really leverage on that to have them help walk their grandparents or their parents through that process. But most of the time, I like to pivot towards Aetna, because they've got the security question where you can simply ask them, hey, what's your mother's maiden name? That's going to act as your signature on this application to see if we can get you approved today. So
awesome.
that's really as simple as it is.
That's perfect. So let's say you mentioned you buy the 50 leads, you dial them, it seems like on Excel spreadsheet tracking the colors, which I'm a very visual person too. It would inspire and excite me to kind of watch that process happen and be able to reflect on each of those calls. What is your process? Like, is it on Tuesdays, Wednesdays? What time do you find is optimal sell from home time? And do you have minimums for yourself? Like, will you pick up another batch? Like, I'd love, because you sound very specific and determined. And that's something that I think a lot of our new agents lack, only because it's never been them versus the world. It's been them working a job or having a career where they, if they perform the tasks even at an average to below average level, they're going to keep their salary going. You understand that if you don't make the dials and make enough green lines, that you're not going to have food for your family, right? That's the difference between an entrepreneur and someone who's happy with a career. What are the ways you structure and discipline yourself to make sure you can get enough of these presentations each day?
So it's all about a hard calendar. And it's, you're not an employee, you're now your own boss. You're running your own company, right? Even though we've got this community that we can plug into, you're running your own company. So you get to decide, how much am I going to work? Am I going to work the evenings? Am I going to work the weekends? And I've always been really adamant on spending time with family. And then we do a lot of ministry work. So everything after, 4 to 5 o'clock, it's family and ministry. Anything during Monday through Friday, from I'll get in the office probably around 7 o'clock, and then I'll leave the office around 4 o'clock. We take a typical lunch break. It's not right at noon every single day, but we have a lunch break. And then if I'm at the office, I'm working, and so the way that looks, what we used to do is Monday was our call day, right? Traditional call day, Monday and Thursday. But so we started to follow that for a little bit, and we're finding out what's working, what's not working. But I would say two things. One, if you're only doing outbound phone calls, you got to be calling every single day, if you're brand new, you got to make at least 2,800 phone calls a month. That's like the bare minimum. So that's 700 a week, right?
Okay.
So that's not a lot of phone calls, to be honest with you, if you're triple dialing, if you're dialing the same number 3 times in a row, right? So my strategy there is let it ring 3 times, hang up, let it ring 3 times, hang up, and then let it ring all the way through the last dial. No voicemail. So it's really not a lot of dials. You got to be a machine when it comes to dialing, and do that until you're hitting the numbers you want to hit. Set yourself goals. I didn't know what numbers I wanted to hit. I just came out swinging, and trying to figure out what's working, what's not working. Because when we partnered with FFL, it wasn't just myself and it wasn't just Mike. We have a whole team of people that we worked with at other companies. That is, they believe in us and they rely on us to find something like this that works, and then to really to prove it, right? To do it ourselves. So consistency wise, I think moving forward, I'll be doing a lot of inbound phone calls. So waiting for my phone to ring, somebody else called them and said, hey, do you want to talk about the insurance thing? Right. And then receive that phone call. Financially, new people aren't going to be able to do that right away. So I know that the outbound phone call thing works. So pick up the phone, make 300 phone calls today, and make a couple sales. It's really not that hard, but you got to call that. You got to call the list several times. Right. And eventually somebody's going to pick up, you're going to swing enough times, you're going to get good enough to where you can keep somebody on the phone. You can take them through that process, and you can help protect them and their family.
Love it. 2,800 dials a month, 700 a week. If we have 2 dial days on a week, that's 350 a dial day. Very average, very normal, very approachable, very structured. So no one's ever said like that, Casey. Thank you for breaking it down for us, my man. Appreciate you. Any final rally cry cheers to these new agents out here who are excited to follow in your footsteps or looking for one last final inspiration?
Yeah. If I can give 2 things, if that's okay.
Of course.
So the first thing is track your numbers, track how many dials you're making, how many connections. So how many people you're actually talking to, and then how many numbers of swings, like how many times do you actually get the opportunity to run through the whole appointment with them? And then inside that, figure out, why did they either say no, or was it an uncontrollable, like they didn't medically qualify and they're too old to go to another carrier? So like keep track of those things. Obviously keep track of the number of closes you have. The last thing is, I read this quote this morning and it just like, it jumped out at me because I knew I was going to jump on here and do this call. But let me read it to you guys real quick. It says, slackers will know what it means to be poor while the hard worker becomes wealthy. Okay. So not just in money. I know we're all doing this because we want to make a nice living, but that's not the most important thing to a lot of people, right? So focus on like what's going to make you better, what's going to make you more wise, what's going to build your friendship stronger, what's going to build your family connection stronger, what's going to build your communication skills. What are you really investing your time in? Is it a church? Is it a community of people? Is it your business? And then really just focusing on growing, like growing as an individual.
I love it, man. That's it. Either growing or dying, man. Epic quote. Slackers will know what it means to be poor, and the wealthy will know what it means to be rich. Is that what it was?
While the hard worker becomes wealthy.
Well, the hard worker becomes wealthy. That's it. Hard work, man. Ain't no way around it. You're a hard worker, Casey. Thank you for coming on here and giving us a blueprint. Appreciate you, and excited to see you and your team and growing team continue to tear up the leaderboards, brother. Appreciate you and your time. Have a great day.
Thanks, buddy.